everyone, welcome to the channel. So today's picture I am coloring a portrait, and I thought it would be really great fun to color in a portrait using primary colors. Now I've done this before only once, and I'm going to show you quickly the page that I did do, which was this one. And I originally colored all of this with the same set of pencils, except I did actually bring in the green pencil for all of the green work you see. So I thought I would do it again on this page. I was asked on Instagram if I could actually do a whole tutorial or color along video to show how I did it. So I'm not expecting this page to look the same as the first one I tried. I'm just really going to play around. I'm going to let it be whatever it will be. I'm pretty much just gonna go with it. So let's see how it goes. Hi Noelle, how are you? Hi Shani. Hope you're both well and had a good weekend. Okay. So what I'm going to do is probably do the skin first, and that's going to probably be our best bet. I'm going to make sure my pencils are sharp, because my red one's not too sharp. And I'm also, while I'm sharpening my pencils, I'm just thinking in my brain, what did I do last time? What were my steps? Now, I have a feeling I put down a bit of yellow, but I think I'm also going to put down white. We're going to look carefully and just think highlights first. I'm going to probably put my white pencil down for highlights. And okay, okay, I better not use that page. I don't know if my children would approve of me cleaning my white pencil on the back of their drawings. Okay, so just clean off my white pencil, make sure it's nice and clean. Okay, so I'm going to try and zoom you more into the body, and we'll get started. Now, the reason I like doing this with a grayscale is because it really helps take the guesswork out of highlights and shadows and that sort of thing. So I definitely think I'm going to need a white highlight around about here. Okay, and then here on the lips there. And maybe a bit here. Here on the nose. Gonna need some there. Here in the eye. I think that could look nice. You can't really see the highlights though. Can put one a bit here. Here. Maybe a small one here. We're up here in the ear. Right in the neck here, just a bit here. I don't want too much of a white highlight because I do think some places it doesn't need to be a white highlight. maybe there, and then here. Something along here, probably. Maybe in there, maybe. Sometimes I find the highlights a little bit of guesswork, but you know, we can always just try, and if we don't like it, we just cover it up. Okay, right. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a blue pencil and I'm going to put in my deeper shadows. So I'm also going to do this quite lightly. So if I end up spending the entire live video coloring skin tone, it's because of wanting to do the skin smoothly. I also want to make sure that I'm putting the right colors in the right places. Now, when you do the blue and then you layer up, I think red, as we layer it all up, it's going to create these shadow areas. So so I'm going to do it light initially, just while I plot out what's what. Now I don't have a black pencil, and I've done that on purpose. I want to use a dark umber, and I'm going to layer red and blue over that. Now, not everywhere is going to need blue, because we can layer up our colors, and we want some places to be warmer, some places it will be different. Hi Dawn, how are you? Hi Carly. We need it in there. We need it quite thick along here. What's so cool about experimenting with your primary colors like this, you really get to practice a bit of color theory and color mixing. I'm just not confident enough to do it fast. So we'll just go slow. All right, now we've got a bit of shadow around here. Okay. All right, ears. I always forget ears, so let's not forget ears. I also find it very helpful to do everything with one color at a time. I find it really helps me to finish off the page at the same time, and especially with skin, then I'm not having to guess what my combo is or anything like that. Hi Kenny, how are you? Right along here, it's quite a deep shadow. Maybe have a little bit here. All right, I'm gonna just push this up a wee bit. There we go. And right here. Now, she's got like wings or fins coming out of her body. So we need to make sure that these bits here, one, they're see-through, and two, we need to make sure that they kind of match the skin color. So and what we can actually do is when we finish the page, we can use like those shiny, glittery kind of watercolor paints, and we can glaze over these wing or fin type things, and it will look really, really lovely. So if she ends up being a bit more blue, I actually don't think that will look too bad. Or even if she has like a bluey green kind of feel going on more than a brown or a skin, like a human skin, I think that's actually okay. Oh, yes, I can imagine coloring portraits without grayscale wouldn't have been lots of fun. I think, you know, when it's something new, it's so comforting to have grayscale because someone else has already done the thinking for you. And with something like using primary colors to create skin tone, I find it really helpful. It's one layer I don't have to really worry about. But then at some point I actually do want to try the same idea but on a non-grayscale page. Okay, so she's going to have her hair coming down. got wings along here. I got used to portraits, and I built my confidence with portraits using a grayscale coloring book. It was one of those Amazon grayscale coloring books, and my friend at the time, she did her master's degree in fine arts. I think it was fine arts, and she was at that time an art teacher, and she gave me her Lyra Rembrandt colored pencils to use for skin, and she told me just to play around with them and have a go, which was very kind of her. And that's when I realized that layer upon layer upon layer was not my thing. But I learned a lot about following grayscale. I learned a lot about skin colors and portraits, and yeah, it really helped me to build my confidence. So I do think it's really cool that we have grayscale coloring books. Right, no, I have to do this one. Okay, so here we've got her hair kind of in water. That's how I'm seeing this. So yeah, it might be nice to actually try and paint some water around her. I'd have to think that one through. So here we want this quite heavy blue. Oh, thank you, Kali. Hi, Wilcox. Great to have you join. Hope you're well. Right, so now I'm thinking, what do I do next? Okay, let's do the red. So sometimes I still find my brain works really well with doing the shadows and working my way towards the highlights. Okay, so here I'm going to layer on top of all my blue, I'm going to layer red. And along here. Now, what makes this work so well is as you layer, you end up blending things out. And that's when you get that magic kind of thing, because right now it's just going to look it's going to look weird, but I promise it won't stay weird. It will end up looking really, really great. But you have to layer it and layer it. And it takes a few layers. So when you want like purple in the shadowy areas, you do the blue and red. When you want those orangey brown tones, that's when you start mixing, and you want a bit more red and yellow than you want the blue. So yeah, if you like painting with paints and mixing colors, you're kind of doing the same sort of idea, but you're using pencils. Dawn, you're not being rude at all. You're really fine. This is a very, doing portraits with primary colors, it does look really weird, but it's really cool to watch as you work with it and it comes together. To be honest, even painting blue skin would be a good stretch for me. Break me out of my comfort zones. So I went up to visit my parents on Saturday, and my nephew's soon turning 18, so it was really great to be able to just spend time with them, hang out with them, and celebrate a little bit with my nephew. I'm so proud of him because he's just really been through a lot, and he's overcome a lot, and yeah, he's turned out into a really sweet young man. And then we just had a relaxed day at home yesterday for Father's Day, and the kids were really sweet and gave Daddy a nice card and a few notes, that sort of thing. Alright, so again, circular motions. So again, I'm going to just do all the red for now, and then I'm going to bring in the yellow, and everywhere I go I'm going to work the skin like this. But I think I am probably going to aim for a more, if possible, cool vibe. But we can do this for now. Now we do need the red to create shadows, so I was thinking in my head like maybe having just blue and yellow would have worked, but no, it wouldn't, because we need the red to create stronger shadows. So yeah, we're gonna have a lot of red and then a lot of yellow, and some areas it will go blue, some areas it will go green. It's gonna look amazing. So back to this. Now I will use the dark umber to help me build the shadows. Yeah, we're gonna do lots of layering, and I'm trying to go in lots of mini little circles just to make sure that my blends are smooth. I tried drawing a face today. Didn't turn out very well. I really need to practice drawing faces. It's not very good. I can color faces okay, but drawing them, yeah, I think that's where, if I had a better printer at home, I would print a reference photo A4 size and I would trace it onto paper and then I would color it. I think that is a very sensible way of drawing portraits when you're like me and you struggle. Sounds like you're having a really hot time, Kenny. I'm so sorry. Must be terribly humid for you. Alright, so we do need a very light red around her cheeks, because when we take a white pencil to blend everything together, that's going to help give us that pinky kind of feel. So we don't want to not have red. We do need red. I need a wee bit more blue here, so just gonna put that in. The other thing I find with this style of coloring portraits, there is an element of kind of feeling your way through. So you tweak and adjust as you feel the picture needs tweaking and adjusting. It's not always formulaic. I have no idea what we're going to do for eyes, so we can figure that out as we go. Okay. So now I'm going to use Canary Yellow. I like using Prismas for skin tone because I find they blend very well, but I mean you could use any color you want. Okay, so I'm going to layer this on everything and just bring it out. And you don't want to be too heavy-handed because you really do want to allow this, you want to build up too much, because if you have too much yellow or too much blue, you're going to have to adjust to get whatever color you want right. So yeah, it's better to go slow and steady than to rush this sort of a thing. And the more layers you put down, the more you're going to end up blending with your own pencil. So I think this is the first time I'm sitting down to do a proper long coloring session with pencils. I've been doing so much with watercolor paints. So this is good. Now, I don't think we need to put yellow necessarily everywhere. So I'm going to put this layer of yellow all over just to warm the face, but then I'm going to reduce that and I'm going to be a bit more heavy-handed with the other colors, because I don't necessarily want her very yellow. I don't necessarily want her very pale. I don't know yet. We'll just see. Alright, so here you can see the yellow and the blue starting to become more green. Okay, let's lift her up a bit. No, I don't stand up. I sit down. I would get very tired standing up. I sometimes have to lift my body up so I can see what you all see, and make sure I move my book. But other than that, I sit down and I color. The only videos I make that I'm standing are normally my chatty videos. But when I color, I am sitting down. Oh, thank you. Alright, so we still want a bit of skin tone in here, but I'm probably going to make those more greeny yellow or blue. I'm not going to do too much more red in there. I want to see what happens. She looks so weird. Oh, I promise it's gonna look fine. It just needs a lot more layers. It doesn't have anywhere near enough pigment. I am liking where it's starting to turn a bit of green, so I'm going to bring my blue pencil back in, and I'm going to start with that, and I'm going to probably focus a bit more now on blue, red, and I might bring in the dark umber, but we'll see. I think that is actually a finger. She's holding her hair in her hands. So we want this more green and maybe purple, so we need a lot more blue. So I want these very delicate. So you should be able to start seeing where it's starting to turn green in some places. The first time I saw somebody color skin tone with primary colors was on YouTube, and one of those professional artists, and it was so cool to watch how she used primary colors and a dark brown with white to create skin tone. And I remember thinking to myself, oh, I want to do that, but also feeling slightly daunted and uncertain I could pull it off. Until I did. So I think having green tinges is actually really cool because she's like a water nymph. And I could probably do this entire page with just these pencils. And I think I saw a video by the same artist where she drew, using primary colors, a brown and a white pencil, she drew a drawing of a ring with, I think it was a ruby or an emerald and a diamond or various stones. I was so amazed at what she did. And it really did look like a piece of jewelry. But don't worry, we won't make her too green because we don't want her to look sick or green with envy. We will figure out a way to make her look really cool. Oh, cool. I'm glad you guys are enjoying it. I think it's just such a cool thing to experiment with, and it really does showcase the power of layers and what colored pencils can do. And I promise you, the professionals, they pull it off really well, but it's so much fun to just play around with it and experiment. Hi Brittany, it's great to have you join us. We are using Christine Karron's Wildflower Folk book and Prismacolor pencils. I'm using a True Blue, a Canary Yellow, a Scarlet Lake, a Dark Umber and a white pencil. And I am going to attempt to color the entire page with these pencils, with primary colors only. Okay, we need to be careful with that nose. Okay, I need to be careful. So that line there needs to be moved. It's amazing how, as we grow in our coloring understanding, using things like blues and indigos or expressos really starts to make a bit more sense. So what I've learned, at least so far, is if you want warmth to your skin tone, even if you're using the skin tone pencils in your colored pencil sets, if you want warmth to your portraits, add a goldenrod, a canary yellow, or any of the warm yellows. You want to put that down, and that's what gives you that glow. If you want deeper, darker shadows, then you're going to layer down your indigos and your blues. And if you start looking at reference photos, not that you have to color with a reference photo, but if you, next time you're on Pinterest and you're looking at people, just look at their skin tone, zoom up close, and then you'll see parts where it's actually got like purpley shades. In some places it's got blue, and other places it's like pinky, and other bits, depending on the skin tone, will even have green. And what I've noticed professional artists do is they literally copy where those shadows are, and that's what creates that hyper realism, or that even that realism aspect to their pictures. Alright, so this red I'm going to just place in my shadows because I want to have less warmth and I want to have almost like more purple. So I'm going to build that up here, and I'm going to keep the greeny yellow tinges going for now. This is going wobbly because of the way I'm holding my pencil. I really need my eraser. Let's see, I've got my one little boy's eraser here. So I need to fix this nose. It's starting to really bother me. I want this coming down here. So this is kind of where I start to try and feel the picture. Where do I need what to kind of balance it? And by this point, if I'm feeling confident, I'll start putting more pressure on the page with my pencil, because I don't need to do light layers now. I can kind of see where my shadows are and my highlights. Okay, that nose looks better. That was really not going to work. Oh, don't be scared. What's the worst you could do? I think what I did was, I know this paper works really, really well. I love coloring with Prismas on this paper. And I've already decided Christine Karron's new book I'm going to buy, just actually because of the paper. So that the paper really helps me with confidence to experiment. But then I have got Fairy and Fantasies #2. Now, if I was feeling scared about something like this, I would probably work more in my Amazon copy of Christine Karron's book than this book, because I've already, those pages will be on better paper in her current books that she's releasing. So that would give me like permission to myself to try and color something like this. Or if you're scared but you want to try it, if you have got nice white paper that you can print on, maybe take a copy or scan your page, print it onto other paper, and that way if it doesn't work out, you can just throw it away. I did the True Blue, so PC903. I will put these colors in the description below for you at the end of the video. So if you watch the replay, it will be there. And basically what I've done is I've done blue, red, yellow, then I've gone back to blue and red, and I'm just focusing more on blue and red right now. I will try make a note for you, and I'll put it in the description too. Hang on, first layer. If I don't write it down, I'll forget. There we go. I've written it down. I'll try put it as a step-by-step in the description. Bye, Dawn. Thanks for hanging out. No, it's a pleasure. And the nice thing with doing a live stream like this, you can watch and see how it turns out and decide if you like it. And if you don't like it, then, you know, it's saved you the risk. Okay. Hi, Marilyn. How are you? Okay, now I'm gonna go back to where am I gonna go? I think I'm gonna go back to blue. And I'm gonna blend over the red. But I'm not necessarily going to go everywhere. Okay, that one here can stay a bit green. I think that will bring in her skin tone quite nicely. Now, if you don't want the green, don't put the blue near the yellow. Layer blue, red, back to blue. If you go blue, red, and you bring yellow near blue, you're gonna get green. So if you don't want the green, keep the blue and the yellow separate. Only go over the yellow with red. Sometimes you can use green to help you create a warmth and a glow, but it all depends on what kind of skin tone you want. If you're trying to create like brown, you do need the yellow, red and blue together, because that will help create brown, but we've got a brown pencil to help us, so. Oh wow, that's amazing. You've done watercolor portraits using primary, red, yellow and blue, and wasn't as intimidated as doing it in pencil. That's so funny. I have the opposite. I'm terrified at doing a portrait with watercolor paints. So the advice I was saying about printing a page onto paper and experimenting with watercolor, I should probably take my own advice and do that. I think though, if I'm going to do that, I need to buy myself watercolor paint. Not paint, paper. I think that would be a sensible thing to do. And then I should take my own advice. Okay, that makes sense. You mix the colors in the palettes and then put it on paper. Okay, so blue again here, sparingly. So I don't mind what color her lips end up. Right, I like this bit of red here. I think that works really nicely. So I'm gonna do that there. Just bring this down a bit. The first time I actually tried this, I didn't remember which colors. I knew there was red, I knew there was yellow, so I thought I needed to use green. Anyway, it turned out so disastrous, and I actually did take my advice. I did do a copy of a Christine Karron picture. I printed it on separate paper and I gave it a whirl. I did end up throwing that in the bin. But then I re-watched the same videos I was telling you about, and I realized I was supposed to use a blue, not a green pencil. And then I took a long while actually, between attempts, and eventually gave it a try. Okay. Right, now I'm going to bring in the brown, which is a dark umber. Oh, I see. You have to put the red on top of the green to turn it brown. That's so cool, Marilyn. Yes, mixing browns without actually having brown. I'm trying to do that with my watercolor paints when I'm playing around. And even I'm trying to learn how to mix grays and blacks without touching black or gray. Still got a lot to learn though. It's still quite hard. Alright, so I'm putting the brown now in my more dark shadows. And that's just to deepen them, really. But I'm not going to put this everywhere. Okay, and then I want it quite deep in here. And deep in here. this will just help me really kind of get these going. But I'm going to layer over this so that it really blends in. I think what I really love the most about doing this is watching the colors blend on the paper. Okay, let's come here. Go around these like circular things. Okay, all right, so now I'm gonna go over that with blue. Now I am going to bring in more red because I think that could work really well. What I like with this is creating a more almost mystical kind of feel, and I think it really works well with these sort of designs. I'm not saying they always have to, you know, be colored this way, but I really do like how they turn out because they've got this magical feel or glow to them. 8th layer was blue. Now I'm going to do the 9th layer is going to be red. And I'm going to let the red kind of blend up. And when you put the red, you start to get a fleshier kind of look. I think if I remember correctly, if your skin tone has too much green, I think you knock it back with red. If it's got too much yellow, you want to knock it back with a lilac, like a grey lavender or that kind of thing. Would need a bit of a purple to knock it back. And I think it's because they're opposite on the color wheel. Do you give your portraits makeup when you color them? Oh no, you think it always looks like you punched her. Oh no. I tend to avoid makeup because I'm always worried it's gonna look like I've just like it's gonna look out of place. I try give mine a bit of blush, but eyeshadow, no. I'm like, if I put it wrong, she's gonna look like a painted character. All right, so now I'm just gonna do a gentle touch of yellow. Kind of like a glaze. And I might actually be ready to try take a white pencil and see if we can blend this out now. Now your white pencil is the key. You need the white pencil to mush it all together, and that's where the magic happens. I'm going to bring more of my brown now before I go in with my white pencil, and just really get my edges defined. Now what I find is once I've blended it with a white pencil, I sometimes do go back in and I brighten things up. Where else? Maybe one over here. Well, it's not over yet. Let's let's see if it's actually gonna work out. Okay, a little bit here. Oh my goodness, Carly, that sounds quite intense. Okay, right, now, white pencil. So we've done about 12 layers. I told you I was going to take the whole live stream to do skin. Okay, so what I'm going to do is in my lightest color, and I'm going to blend into my shadows. And I don't mind if I'm using a harder pressure, so I'm going to probably do like a medium to hard pressure. Okay. I'm not necessarily going to fully burnish it, but what I want to do is work on just blending this all together. And then we can see how it ends up looking. Wow, Cully, that's quite nerve-wracking. Right, I'm losing a bit of a highlight here, so just want to bring it back a bit. Hi Ronnie, how are you? Okay, we're getting there. Okay, I need to resharpen my pencil. Okay, there we go. Slightly sharper pencil, and we're back. All right, I'm gonna have to erase these little round things. We could probably even put, like, I don't know, paint inside there. Right, she's coming along. Right. Now we need to do her lips. So there you go. That's sort of the idea. Obviously with practice, because this is really color mixing, with practice the balance between all three primary colors will improve, and you could strive, if you wanted to, for realistic skin with just these colors. I tend to get this sort of effect more than human skin, but I quite like this sort of thing, and like I said, I think with fairies and fantasy folk, I think it really works, and it works well. So I'll let you guys give me your verdict as to whether this is just as to what your thoughts are. Like, does this work? Is this a good idea? Is it something that needs more practice? Go in with a bit more blue. So I did red and brown, and I want to give her like more, I don't know, reddish purpley kind of thing. Oh, thank you. I think it needs more blue. gotta be careful you don't give her bruised lips. Can you imagine? She looks like somebody punched her. That would not work. Like, we don't want her to look like somebody punched her. And we can glaze over that with some yellow and just warm it up. Alright, I'll add highlights to that at a later stage. Why are you throwing your pencils into a ditch? Okay, let's try and give her blue eyes. So I'm going to sharpen my pencil because she really needs eyes and she needs eyebrows, and then we can really decide how she looks. So I'm going to make sure my pencils are super sharp. Oh, thank you, Ronnie. Thank you, everyone. Oh, no. Shani, you color beautifully. Okay, so blue in here. Just a little bit. And then I'm going to use the dark umber to create that shadowy look. And the pupil of her eye. And then I want to do back, or I want to put just a slight bit of blue in here because of the whites of her eyes. Go around this to create like a dark blue. They must be fakes. No, they're not fakes. Oh my goodness. Okay, let's smudge that in here. And that in there. Right, a touch of brown. Just trying to create like a gray. I'm not sure if I'm going to do this. And I really don't want to go and get a gray pencil. I'm determined to see if I can make these eyes. So touch of red, because you do get like red blood stuff in the whites of your eyes. So we do need a little bit of that. Okay, and then you want a bit of red in here and down there, but not too much, because we don't want her to look like she's been drunk or doing something she shouldn't be. In there, in there. Okay, there we go. And oh, you like the numbers on the ends. That's because they always fade. I mean, like here, I have to memorize that this is Scarlet Lake because it fades so much. It drives me nuts. Okay, I'm not sure what color hair to do. I'm thinking maybe like a browny green into blue, or maybe a bluey green. But if I start on her hair now, we'll be here another 2 hours. So let's see, what else can we do? We could do a bit of these bubbles around her here. So do a bit of blue. And whoopsie daisy. Then brown around. Maybe like that. Okay, let's see. I'm just using True Blue, and I'm going to go around all of these, and then I'll use the brown again. I'll try blend them out, and then I'll take a white Posca pen and put some white highlights back in. And I don't mind that it's got some of the skin color, because that can just kind of connect them to her body. And some of them can be a bit more faded than others. Okay, so now I'll take kind of doing like a C kind of shape inside, so that they have a bit more of a kind of like 3D effect going on. So you could do any color. You could even put on diamond drills if you fancy and feel that they're big enough. I don't have big enough diamond drills for all of this, but that's what I would do. Or you get those like stick-on bead, not beads, but like, what are they called? The stick-on round things. I don't know what they're called. Gemstones or something like that. And you could put those in. The only downside with that is, actually on a book like this you'll be fine. If it's a double-sided book, then you'll have to just be aware it will make it bumpy on the other side of the page, so coloring can be a bit challenging. Okay, so then brown. Right, let's see if I've got a white pen here that I can use. Right, this one's not as strong as a Posca pen. So yeah, so that's the idea. Put in a white highlight and then you have beautiful gemstones. You can do it any color you like. It doesn't have to be white. It can be green, it can be red, blue. Well, there you go. That's how I would how I try and color skin with primary colors and a brown pencil and a white pencil. I'm gonna zoom out so you can see it, and I'll try and angle the light a bit more off it. Okay, so there you go. Thank you so much. So I will carry on coloring this page with only primary colors with you. I'll do the hair next week and see if we can get started on the leaves, and I think it will look really cool when we're done. And I'll give some thought as to what to do with these like dot things there. So thank you so much for hanging out with me. I really hope that you have found this fun, if nothing else. If you know anyone who would really enjoy watching this, please do let them know. Maybe share with a friend. It's just something really fun and not often seen, I don't think, in the coloring community. So it could just be fun. But I hope you all have a great rest of your week. And I look forward to next week where we can work more on this page. And I'll see you guys all soon. So thanks so much for hanging out. Take care. Bye.